Hi there, welcome back to eJournal Tutorials. This video will go over peer feedback activities and how to use them. In peer feedback activities, students are asked to provide feedback on a certain aspect of one or more portfolios of their fellows. Let's get started and see how that works. You can configure a peer feedback activity within the editor of your assignments. You just want to click the plus new activity button in the timeline and select peer feedback as an entry type. The configuration of the peer feedback activity can be broken down into these three steps. Instructions, in which instructions for the activity itself are provided. Review settings, to configure what portfolio content is reviewed and whether the feedback is structured with a rubric. And assigning reviewers, to simply assign reviewers to one another. Let's start by configuring the instructions. The instructions you provide for the activity are the first things students will be presented with when working on it. The display name determines the name of the activity in the timeline. Let's set it to be Feedback Session 1 here. You can make use of the description and files to provide particular instructions or additional context students may need to perform the review. Then, we can configure when the activity takes place. The unlock date determines when students can start working on the activity. The due date when they're expected to complete the activity. And the lock date prevents students from working on the activity beyond this date. Without the lock date, students can still work on the activity past the due date, but their work will be flagged as late. Let's now move on to the Review Settings tab. By default, all portfolio content is part of the peer feedback activity, but we have multiple ways to limit this. For example, we might only want to include content related to a particular template, category, or submitted in a specific time range. Regarding permissions, some default ones are already configured, but we have many more options at our disposal. Some example permissions include enabling comments as part of the review, deciding when the actual feedback should be released. So for example, if you're worried about how students' negative feedback might influence others, it would make sense to set this to after the due date, so that students can check the feedback they received after they've sent theirs. And here, the ability to anonymize portfolios, which is great if you'd like reviewers to be unaware of who they're reviewing to prevent any bias. Finally, it might make sense to provide a rubric to help students structure their feedback during a feedback activity. If no rubric is configured, students can still leave a free-form textual feedback. With all of this configured, we're ready to add the activity and assign reviewers. Reviewers can be assigned manually or automatically. Manual assignment allows you to decide exactly who should review whom, but in most cases, automatic assignment saves you a lot of work. Just specify what group size you'd like, and the system will do the rest. Thank you for watching. If you're interested to know more about eJournal's feedback mode, feel free to click through. See you soon!